Hello team, welcome to another ATP Geopolitics video with myself, Jonathan M.S. Pearce. This is a Ukraine war breaking news update where I'm just going to give you a very short update as to what's going on in Turkey. My connection to Turkey is I've just been to the Turkish barber and had some serious, resculpting of my facial real estate. So that's all good. Right, okay. My opinion, the TLDR of this, so too long, didn't read, kind of conclusion to this is that I think Trump has enabled Russia to end up playing everyone else. And I think Ukraine probably lose out of this. Europe is seen to be incredibly weak, and the US are seen to be just enabling Russia. This is Trump being a plaything of Vladimir Putin. Trump claims nothing is going to happen until he meets Putin, as Zelenskyy calls the Russian team a prop, as we heard earlier. But that last bit, but the first bit, Trump's going to do, nothing's going to happen unless he's involved. Trump expects no progress in the Russia-Ukraine peace talks until he meets Putin. Quote, nothing's going to happen until Putin and I get together, he told journalists aboard Air Force One, according to Reuters and others. It's not. I don't think any of this is particularly good. And now it looks like Ukraine has been forced to then say, okay, we are going to go to the negotiations with the third tier Russian delegation. Ukrainian delegation is going to Istanbul. The head of the delegation is Umarov. So I presume that Zelenskyy is going to step out because Putin didn't turn up out of respect for Trump and Erdogan, it said Zelenskyy. So, just to please Trump, we're going to send a delegation. Do we hear any sign of sanctions, ramping up of sanctions from allies? No. Do we hear any sign of military aid going to Ukraine because Russia didn't adhere to a ceasefire and Putin didn't turn up for in-person negotiations? No. So what the end result is that a forced negotiation between Russia and Ukraine has taken place, where Russia get to send their third tier bit part negotiators as a kind of insult to Ukraine. Ukraine feels like they are forced to now send their top negotiating team, sans Zelenskyy, and I just think this is a win for Putin, and he's been enabled to gain this win because Trump is weak. The man is weak. He is a plaything. He's putty in Putin's hands. It's good that Erdogan has confirmed that he considers Crimea Ukrainian. I guess that's a good thing. But it just seems to me that, the Ukrainians end up doing everything they're asked to do, and you still get to this point where there is no additional pressure on Russia, and Russia either refuse to do what's been asked of them or end up doing the bare minimum. So they refuse to engage with a ceasefire. There's no ceasefire. Trump says he wants a 30-day ceasefire. Zelenskyy says, yes, let's do a 30-day ceasefire. Russia says no. Trump goes, oh, well, you can meet instead. Oh, it turns out you didn't want to meet because I'm not going to be there. Okay, let's make it all about me. Meanwhile, Russia are quietly amassing forces near the front line. And we've heard this previously from Ukrainian military sources. Now CNN is officially reporting this. Russia is amassing forces near the front for a new offensive aimed at seizing more territory, which wouldn't happen if a ceasefire had been called and adhered to on Monday. It was called, it wasn't adhered to. And if the US had put pressure on Russia to adhere to a ceasefire, we'd be in a very different position. And now if Russia do a big counteroffensive to take more territory, I'm afraid that's on the US and it's on Europe for kowtowing to the US, for not standing up strong without the US. We seem in Europe to be completely unable to bring ourselves to show strength and unity without the US. US officials say Putin still seeks gains in eastern Ukraine, possibly even near Kyiv, despite US calls for a 30-day ceasefire. Putin's envoy Dmitriev says Trump, JD Vance, Witkoff, Rubio and other allies just made the impossible possible. If talks aren't derailed, this could be a historic step toward peace. So they are cleverly playing this. They're just giving Trump all the kudos he could ever want. And JD Vance and Witkoff and Rubio, you're wonderful. You've come together and you've enabled the impossible to become the possible. Now, if talks aren't derailed, so if those pesky Ukrainians don't get in there with their red lines, then we'll just get everything we want, which will be a historic step forward. Russia will just get what Russia wants. Putin will be able to achieve the impossible as the West capitulates in front of the Kremlin. I am really genuinely annoyed at this situation. Maybe I'm reading it wrong. I could be reading this wrong, but my sense is that Zelenskyy is being made to do things that 5 days ago weren't on the cards. There was a 30-day ceasefire, good plan. Europe was doing the right thing. US was agreeing to this, and it all falls apart. Why does it fall apart? Because Trump. There's no other reason because Trump. Because they don't want to put sanctions on Russia. They don't want to do anything against Russia. Russia can do what the frick they like. They can bomb the crap out of cities. They can torture Ukrainians. They can kill civilians. They can continue fighting. They can amass troops for a further offensive. They can do that unbridled. But as soon as Zelenskyy demands accuracy, he's lambasted in the White House, kicked out, and an extractive minerals deal is postponed and eventually signed. It's all about bending the Ukrainian knees to the Uberführer in the Kremlin. And those knees are being bent by the Trump administration, while Europe looks on, going, "Oh, this is bad, but can't do anything because it's America." Please, I hope I'm wrong. Anyway, I'm going to get on with my military aid video. Speak soon.